Hello there, whippersnappers, and welcome to Tenpines Bluff, the Church of Tenpines Bluff, actually. Now, before we get into story time today, I wanted to mention that I've built this in memory of my Gran, and I've based it on her church in real life, as close as I could get with the pieces that we have to work with. So, I mean, absolutely no disrespect or offense to anybody with any belief or lack of belief or anything in between. This one was made with a lot of love, and I just can't help being a bit silly sometimes. So with that said and out the way, let's go and have a nosy round today. Okay, so the entrance here is fairly modest, and it's minded by our 1-minute man Ethan, and this is quite a recent addition. Our Minutemen come here as part of their training. We're not trying to make a new brotherhood or turn them all religious or encourage zealotry or anything like that. We'll go into it in more detail later. Anyway, Ethan here decided he wanted to stay and become protector after his training. He came here with his girlfriend Daisy, soon to be wife in fact. She's very shy and I don't know if we'll get to meet her today, but she's around here somewhere. So Ethan and Daisy are using this shack, they're fixing it up, it's a work in progress. They've managed to acquire these actual beds instead of these grotty old mattresses on the floor, but there's not much else going on in there yet. Then there's this little rest stop here, just for any weary travellers who might be passing. They do try and be a bit welcoming here. And there we have the Church of Tenpines. Looks like first of all we're going to be meeting Samuel, and he's the son of our current priest. He's currently in the role of sort of groundskeeper and caretaker, and he's learning all he can in the hopes of following in his father's footsteps one day.
Got work to do. Can't talk now.
Oh, so sorry. Yeah, he's a very busy chap. Okay, so here's the name of the church. Our Notre Lady of the Wastes. Interesting. So we'll take a look around the outside first, I think, and maybe talk about some of the history of the place. So we've got a window that's not a window. It's actually a beacon light, so anyone can find their way here if they need to. They're peaceful folk, and they haven't got much to steal. Now this is how everything started here. You can see there's the ruins of what was originally a church before the war, and Hilda, who we'll meet a bit later, was a priest all the way back then. But this is where she once operated everything here. She was all on her own and she didn't have many resources, but thankfully, just beyond this kind of broken down overpass is outpost Zimonja, and the people there helped to build this up into what it is today. Our priest would once have given services just from that little pulpit, and she's managed to build herself a small shelter,
Crop's been growing pretty good lately.
which now serves as just somewhere for any pilgrims to stay, or Minutemen when they're on their training regime. She couldn't do much on her own, so yes, there's not much here. People can bring their own belongings if they need them. Just a safe bed. Okay, we can just take another look at the architecture out here. So there, we've got a traditional graveyard. Try not to stand on any graves. And some fairly interesting architecture. So Hammy's parents oversaw a lot of this, with their staff down at the lumber yard. I think they've done quite a nice job here. Right, let's go and look in here, shall we? So there's this small porch as you come in, and somewhere to collect donations. And then there's also a visitor's book if anybody that comes is capable of reading and writing. And then... there we go. That's not a bad effort, is it? Fairly grand. We'll take a walk down the aisle. There's plenty of seating, all these nice pews, complete with kneeling cushions. Ah, Samuel's got some clearing up to do though. These books are all supposed to be put away at the end of a service. Lazy wastelanders. As we approach the altar, this is our current priest, Father John.
Hi, how are you?
Very good, thank you. How are you? Oh, that shoulder's still giving you trouble, is it? I hope you feel better soon. Father John has been here for many years now, learning everything he can, and he's now finally able to take the services. That is because our original priest over here, this is Hilda, she's really getting on in years now.
I knew you'd help us.
Of course, anything for you, dear. So yeah, you can hear her voice is a bit ragged now, and she's taken a bit of a back seat. So Hilda has collected all sorts of religious artifacts and texts over her many, many years. Now this one is significant.
You ain't one of them synths here to spy on me.
Oh, we'll come back to that in a bit. She's having a little word with Nick, clearly. Yes, he is a synth, and no, he's not here to spy on you. He's one of the good guys. But yeah, this is the oldest Bible she's managed to find so far in all of her scavenging. And if you've been paying attention, you'll realise we've now met the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghoul. And on that note, I think we'll go and take a look around in the toilets. Yes, fairly basic facilities, but they get the job done, and at least they're clean. You can help yourself to toilet paper from the hamper over there.
Easy living, this ain't.
Yes, over here there's some storage. This is where all of those books are supposed to live. If only people would put them away when they've finished. Samuel's work is never done. And if we just sneak through here, we'll take a look on the other side. Here we have another collection plate and these lovely pamphlets which were made by the wonderful Alvana over at the commune from last time. And we of course don't really have access to incense anymore, so these flowers have to do the job for any ceremonies. Oh, it looks like we may have been hosting some children of Atom. All are welcome here, that's fine. These ones look like All Things Green and Nuclear, Lord of the Rads, and Give Me Oil in My Workshop. Okay. Okay, so in here, this is where Hilda, John and Samuel all live together. Fairly modestly, they don't need to go too mad. They're all working a lot anyway, so we've got a fairly nice neat kitchen just snuck in behind the door here. Everything they need, nothing too excessive. And then a little sitting area. So John and Samuel share this pull-out bed together. They had a troubled past. They've always shared a bed. There's nothing weird about it. They just struggle to sleep without one another, to be honest. Again, Hilda has collected many things over the years. So there's all these old holotapes with footage of old ceremonies and services. They can sit and study those and watch them on their projector. This would be another pull-out bed, but it's Hilda's side of the room, and she's only little, so she doesn't often bother to pull it out. A few of her trinkets. Yes, and another job for Samuel. Unfortunately, they've had a little bit of a landslip here after some heavy rain, so he'll have to dig that out. Yes, everything they need, and not much that they don't need. And as we head out this way, I can tell you a bit more about John and Samuel. As I said, they had a bit of a sad history. So they were attacked on the road, and Samuel's mother was unfortunately killed when he was only a baby, and John was only a young man himself. And so John brought his baby son to the nearest place that looked friendly, which was here with Hilda in her shack and her pulpit. But she took them in anyway, and she helped to raise Samuel and looked after them. And that's how they've come to be in the position that they're in today. Well, that does look nice with those rays of light, doesn't it? Actually, the way that streams in the windows, I think we'll go back in again. There we go. On a misty day, it's even better. Very beautiful. In fact, I think rather than taking a nap until night time, we maybe will try and do a little time lapse. I can tell you more about Hilda's history. If that doesn't interest you, I'll leave a timestamp so you can skip straight to the night tour if you would like. So as we watch the light changing through the windows, we'll talk a little bit more about dear old Hilda. For a long time, she lost her faith. After all that had happened and the way people were treating each other and the state of the world, she found it really hard to believe. She spent many years trying to scratch out a living and survive. It wasn't until, by chance, she was scavenging through some ruins and she found that scroll from the display case up front, and it just happened to have a piece of the Book of John. So on that parchment were the words, "For everyone who has been born of God overcomes the world. And this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith." And she decided perhaps it could be her calling, that in this world of chaos and destruction and disorder, maybe she ought to try and bring some faith and order and peace back into the land. And so, of course, when John came stumbling up with his young son, it seemed like it couldn't just be a coincidence to her. So she's tried to train him so that when she's eventually no longer here, her work can continue. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that mini history lesson, but it looks as though it's sufficiently dark now. There's always such a nice view from in here. This church is open to everybody as long as they are respectful. They're welcome to worship who or whatever they would like. I think Hilda works on the assumption that they're all probably talking to the same God, just in a different way. Generally speaking, she teaches 5 commandments, and those would be no murder, no adultery, no theft, no lying, and no coveting, because she thinks that they would be beneficial to everybody. So she's just trying to bring everybody together as much as she possibly can. Abe has been very impressed with the work that she's doing. He's very on board with trying to bring back peace in any form, to the point where all his new Minutemen get sent up here to try and find their center. They don't have to find a god or a faith or anything.
You came through for us. We won't forget what you did.
But we've got a training yard. That might well be our visit next time. So when the new recruits come out of there all fired up, they have to make a pilgrimage out here to calm down and learn a bit of morality, because you never know where people have come from in the wasteland, and it just gets them all on the same page, and hopefully with less of a gung-ho attitude.
Another day of hard work. It never changes.
I think we'll probably walk through here fairly peacefully now. And I will be back shortly. Go away, bush. And I think we've seen just about all there is to see. What do you think? Are they doing good work here? Okay, settle in for today's real talk. There's a fair amount to get through here today.
Out here, you gotta take things one day at a time.
Oh, well there's Daisy, the elusive Daisy, who's not played any part in the story whatsoever. Nice of you to turn up. Anyway, let's get on to the building work. So Samuel has been manipulated by hiding carrots around the outside of the place. I probably could have sunk them down, but I didn't want him to look like he was in quicksand, so we just hid them in bushes and behind gravestones, which look absolutely ridiculous from behind. Yeah, a bit more believable from this angle. This is for my Gran. She had a real aversion to being called a lady, and she had words with plenty of nursing staff in the hospital who would call her a lady. Yeah, that was for her. This sign was assembled with, concrete walls, and inside there's a marquee sign, is that right? I need to remember the names of these things better. Yeah, and then a cabinet in there, just to try and make it look a bit neater. I didn't really want the flashy marquee sign out the front of a church. We didn't really have a proper look at this doorway either. It's a bit, clips through the pillar and stuff there, but the settlers wouldn't pass through the barn doorways here at all. They won't come in the back entrance. They'll only use this staircase with the giant door. I don't know why. Yeah, all these nightmare bushes and twigs and everything, just incorporated one in there with a plant pot to make it look intentional. And I have to thank Lance a lot for alerting me to the usefulness of these hampers, especially the back of them. A really interesting thing to play with. So we've used those to make some pretend windows. I think they look okay if you're not looking at them too closely. So we've got a painting for the framework and the back of a hamper. Depends on the lighting conditions how effective this part looks, because obviously they are end tables, and in this light they're quite clearly the wrong colour. But when they're in shade they look a bit better. And then this was decorated up with some concrete railings to look sort of like guttering or something. I would have liked to have done a bit more of that, but I was really pushing it on size, and my Xbox felt like it wasn't very happy, so yeah, I'll grab these stairs and try and get a look at the setup on the roof. This place was very heavily scaffolded when I built it, and now this is my only remaining staircase. Okay, I'll be back with you once I'm finally up onto the roof, because this could get embarrassing. Okay, just like that. Nothing to see here. All fine. So yeah, we've got these track lights which are nice and bright, and they just bounce off this glass. Doesn't work so well from up close, but it looks, I think, quite cool from far away. Just lots of barn pieces. Some of them had to be forced in, but I did get lucky with a bit of snapping. That roof again was based upon the shape of my Gran's church. Yeah, we've got a napkin guest book, pre-war money, and some what are they, Nuka-Cade token thingies. And then the pews. So, of course, big bureau. Bookcase still stuck to that one. Okay. So yeah, I brought those in with a pillar. I tried to line up the pillar actually with a feature on the side of the bureau, so then I could sink them all down the same amount and the right amount without having to guess each time. Those are right on the edge of the benches there. And of course, ottomans for cushions. Now, I can only assume that I've displeased somebody, because as I was building here, I had assembled all but one of these pews, and I hadn't saved. I just got into a real rhythm with it. Hadn't saved in hours. I'd made, well, all of them. And then an almighty thunderstorm started and knocked out the power. It was a real floor shaker. Power gone, all the work gone. So I've actually made all of these twice. Yeah, it wasn't quite so fun the second time round, I have to say. Oh, and I've knocked over a vase. Whoops. Yeah, we got kind of a font type thing assembled over here. Checkered floor and sneaky Christmas trees. I liked those stars as just a little embellishment. I think it's quite funny though that there's a whole tree hidden in the floor. Yeah, it just tops it off quite nicely, I think. And this is really bothering me. Sorry, bear with me. Right, okay, back to it. So yeah, the altar. The first two pieces of the altar I put in place were the table and the couch. Everything else was added afterwards. I think I need a new trick with these rugs on wood. I really like how those look. Anyway, yeah, this couch would slide under this table with no issue at all. I didn't have to put it on a rug or anything. Obviously now it won't go back under because of the rugs on the table and all the other things it's colliding with. But when it was just those two things, they played really nicely together. Another bureau. Tried to keep it consistent with the carved wood on the top there. I like that. And then the fiddliest junk decorating, honestly. There's well over 100 pieces placed on here.
Nothing but trouble.
And obviously we fit that into the story, but it was this was more for Gran as well, because that woman had a library, a whole library. She had so many books. She was ridiculously intelligent. She was in education her whole life, and oh, is Hank in here? Somebody threw a book at me. Yeah, I thought that looked quite appropriate, that Hilda might be collecting all of these things. Yeah, there's not a patch on Gran's library. These are the, oh, what are they, like the Synthetic Truth or whatever, the Public Occurrences newspapers. That's just a note with some, I think those ones are leather scrolls. Notes I found fall through things very easily, whether you leave or not, so that's lined with a rug. And then we can take a look at my building sins. So we avoided this with the angle of looking, but yeah, I don't know if it's because the floors were doubled up, but I had some real issues getting things to sync where I wanted them at this end of the church. It would only accept it in very specific positions, and obviously I needed to work with where I wanted the NPCs to stand as well, so we had to have a bit of poking out there, unfortunately. And then in here, the neon cross, obviously, that's not too complicated. And then this was another little display for Gran. Yeah, pull-out couch, that was quite fun. And then lots more junk decorating in here. Yeah, that was unfortunate. This was really difficult to get a structure this large to fit at a good height and in a good place, and not have bushes poking through it everywhere, so that was the best I could get. The trade-off was the little landslip in the corner. but I think I liked that more than a bush in the middle of the church, so yeah, we've worked that in as well. Right on the very edge here of the settlement. Yeah, we made a blind here with the ratty vault posters. Conduit for the thing to roll it into. I've actually doubled those up so you don't have the poster design on the outside of the glass either. And then the clean variant to make this projector screen over here. Yeah, this lot was all just assembled with rugs. In fact, I think the rugs for the beds are still there and just sunk down into the floor slightly. As we head back into the church, that's my Gran's birthday. Yeah, we picked out these colourful pamphlets that from a distance I thought could pass as kind of churchy flyers. Up close, obviously, not so much. Yeah, I think if I were to change one thing, I would like the paintings up by the windows to be flush, but I'd run out of wall space by then to pick them up off of, so I just had to stack them. That was kind of a last-minute choice. We could just take a quick look at this chandelier as well. So this one's all made of conduit, assembled outside with a pillar, and then inside here had loads of scaffolding as well to put all the things up on the walls and everything. Mannequin on the cross, he's got a shelf underneath to stop him from falling down all the way to the floor, but that allowed him to be lit up really nicely as well, so you just have to work these things in sometimes. We've got the nice misty rays now. Oh, this is my absolute favourite when it looks like this in here. Really love the way the light comes through and just kind of dances in rays. I wasn't expecting that at all. Okay, I think we better head out or I'll be here for another hour looking at this. I think we've had quite a good look at most things here, and if I've missed anything out then please do feel free to ask. Oh, the sneaky carrots have all sprouted. Oh, way to ruin the shot. Honestly, this Brahmin has caused nothing but trouble building here. That's the whole reason there's a trading post, and they don't use the trading post, they still just go back to the one good building spot I had left. Anyway, let's not be annoyed at a pretend cow, shall we? So, if you're still here and you've enjoyed it, then please do leave a thumbs up. If you haven't already, then you would be most welcome to subscribe, and I would be most grateful. But I think that's about all I've got for you today, so thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and it's goodbye for this episode. Bye bye.